Raw took place tonight in Dallas, Texas. Brock Lesnar was out first to kick off the show with Paul Heyman. Police officers formed a line by the entranceway to stop Oba from going after him. Paul cut a boring promo, I thought, and then he was eventually interrupted by Oba Femi. He gets in the ring, and it leads to the referees forming a line in the ring between Oba and Brock. Oba destroys the Dallas PD, or so we thought, and then Brock and Paul just left. Oba cut a good promo, but I thought it was very generic, the segment, and I thought it was unnecessary. And I didn't even think there was really a need to even bring Brock and Paul out to the show tonight. Like, what was the point? Just to do this segment. I don't think it was even necessary, and it was just, there was nothing to this. I did not like how the show opened. So they did this series on Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, their history. Chapter 1 was The Shield. It was really quick. They barely showed Dean Ambrose. Io Sky was out next. Roxanne Perez came out with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez during the break. And then we got Io Sky and Roxanne Perez. So the fans in Dallas liked Io, but Roxanne got some love in her home state of Texas. Roxanne worked on Io's injured knee. Io rallied, but then Liv and Raquel tried to interfere. They distracted Io. Roxanne took advantage and she rolled up Io, but Io countered with her own roll up and won the match. Then they attacked Io after the match, but Sol Ruca made the save. Then after that, however, Raquel Rodriguez destroys Sol Ruca by powerbombing her into the ring post. Liv then hits Oblivion to Io. Raquel and Roxanne held her up as Liv hit Io square in the face with the championship belt, or the championship title. Overall, I thought this was a very good angle. They built it up good. I think we're probably getting Sol Ruca and Raquel Rodriguez again, the way this was set up. Maybe SummerSlam, but probably will be SummerSlam. They could do it on Raw, on like before the show. It won't be on Saturday night's main events, but for Liv and Io, I thought it was really good. They're building up to, the Judgment Day having the advantage over, it's 3-on-1. Sol, I guess, is trying to help Io, but I would be cool because if you recall at WrestleMania this year, it was Io who helped Rhea win the WWE Women's title against Jade Cargill and her baddies. It would be cool if Rhea pays back the favor at SummerSlam and she makes her return and she helps Io defeat Liv to win the Women's World Championship. I think that would be pretty cool, but I don't know what's going on with Rhea's injury. But I thought this overall was a very good angle. Division were out next. You had Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, and then the new couple, Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree. After the break, Division were in the ring. Otis and Tozawa walked out. They asked Maxine what she was doing. Division was on the outside at this point, the three men, and then Otis confesses his feelings to Maxine. Theory mocked Otis for being fat. Eventually, Otis attacks him. He fought them off. And then Maxine goes, so they attacked Otis, the three of them, but then Otis fought them off. He had some help from Tozawa. And then Maxine goes to kiss Otis. And that's when Theory hit a low blow. This was a good angle, a good heat angle. And then Braun Breaker speared the living shit out of Tozawa. Theory then hits Otis with the brass knucks, and then Braun Breaker hit him with a spear. Overall, I liked the angle. It was a good heat angle. I'm not a big fan of the Division. I didn't think they should have kept it going, but I thought overall this was done well. And they got the heat on Otis. We'll see what they do next, but I like this angle here. And Otis and Tozawa are kind of sympathetic. People like Otis, so them beating the shit out of him, it got heat on the Division. So Survivor Series War Games will be held in Houston, Texas at the baseball stadium where the Astros play. I just hope it sells better than SummerSlam is right now. They had a video package for the gauntlet match. During the break, Royce Keys attacked Jimmy Uso, who was looking for Solo Sikoa on Raw. And then Adam Pearce made an impromptu match during the break, and we get Royce Keys and Jimmy Uso. So Jacob Fatu arrived during the match, and he then came out and attacked Royce Keys, causing a disqualification. Jacob then puts the chair on Keys, but then Solo Sikoa appears and says he's coming home to the family. He then puts the one up, as did Jimmy and Jacob. and it looks like, oh, Solo's he's with the Bloodline again, but then Solo, like, he kind of pulls a Batista where it's a thumb up, thumbs down. This time it's like the one up and then like the Samoan spike, and that's when he hits Jimmy Uso with the Samoan spike. He fights with Solo. Eventually, the Bloodline, Jimmy and Jacob, get the upper hand. By the way, no Jey Uso tonight, so I wonder why. But it's not good to have an affair, everyone. Even if it's Jada Parker, that you don't have an affair. Anyway, what happens is, as I said, Jimmy and Jacob get the upper hand, but then LA Knight comes out, makes a save, he attacks them with the chair, then he gets on the mic and asks for a 6-man tag team match at SummerSlam. It'll be LA Knight, Royce Key, Sol Sikoa against Jimmy Uso, Jacob Fatu, and whenever Jey Uso makes his return each. That'll happen at SummerSlam. Division received a standing ovation backstage from Paul Heyman, but he still won't commit to being part of them anymore. They're beneath him. It's time to move on for Heyman. I don't think he should be back with the Vision anymore. The Vision are done. Then we got a Hell in a Cell video package with the classical WWE production music. They used to always play like classical music with the Hell in a Cell and make it look like so like dark and sinister. I love that. Even though we know Brock is going to do shit in that match besides wrestle, I still like the segment, this video package, I mean. Adam Pearce was talking to Oba Femi backstage. It turns out that the Dallas PD were phony. They weren't real police officers. They were just independent wrestlers. Look at the way Oba threw that first guy over the top, and he just like lands on his arm or on his shoulder on the outside. I'm surprised he didn't get hurt. Yeah, you're telling me that guy turned out to be an independent pro wrestler, a local guy? Yeah, no way. Bayley came out during the break, and then she called out Lyra Valkyria, who came out looking like she was homeless. Lyra says Bayley is a doormat. Her face doesn't belong on posters. She drags down everyone she works with, and she's always been the worst of the 4 horsewomen. Ooh, wow. Bayley says she'll face Lyra at Saturday night's main event, so no SummerSlam as Bayley's going to leave. And they fight afterwards. Lyra hits a Bayley to belly, laying her out. I think it sets up Lyra defeating Bayley at Saturday night's main event. I think this is it for Bayley. I really do. It wouldn't surprise me if this is her last match in WWE this Saturday. Then we got an WWE Unreal Season 3 teaser. Chapter 2 on the Seth Rollins-Roman Reigns feud was called The Breakup, with Seth Rollins betraying Roman Reigns, turning on the Shield. Again, Dean Ambrose, who's barely shown in the footage. It's like sparingly is he shown. Dominic Mysterio was out next. Then we get the number 1 contenders gauntlet match for the Intercontinental title. Dragon Lee, Chad Gable, Joe Hendry, Javon Evans, Dominic Mysterio, Ethan Page, Rusev. We start off with Dominic Mysterio and Joe Hendry. He had JD McDonough on the outside. He interferes, allowing Dominic to win. And then it's Javon Evans, Dom versus him. They had a good match. Javon Evans gets the win. And then Dragon Lee comes out, and Javon and him go back and forth. Eventually, Javon wins the match, and then it's Javon Evans and Rusev. Javon tries to fight him off. He's in the accolade multiple times. Eventually, he passes out, and Rusev wins. And then we get Rusev and Chad Gable. So Gable eventually would win the match with a victory roll. And then Rusev attacks him as Ethan Page came out. And then in the last 2, it's Chad Gable and Ethan Page. Eventually, Gable submits Ethan Page to the ankle lock. He's going to SummerSlam in his hometown to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship, a title he probably should have won 2.5 years ago against Gunther at WrestleMania. And instead of Gunther losing to Sami Zayn, he should have lost to Chad Gable because they did a good job building that up. But Gable's finally going to get his chance to win the IC title 2.5 years too late, but it's in his hometown. I think he will win. I think he'll beat Penta, who, by the way, got in the ring. They had to stare down to set up their match for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam. Roman Reigns arrived at the arena. Then they previewed Saturday night's main events. Then for the main event segment, Adam Pearce was in the ring. He introduced Roman Reigns and then Seth Rollins. We got the contract signing segment. The fans were split between the two. Roman says Seth put everyone to sleep last week with the segment, his promo, which is absolutely true. That was boring as shit. And then Roman says, eventually they would sign the contract and early on, so like they get that out of the way. Seth then leaves. Roman mocks Seth for getting hurt while being champion. Seth gets back in the ring. Roman says Seth is always going to be number 2. Reality, Seth right now is like number 4. It's Roman 1, probably Cody 2, Punk 3, Seth 4 right now, to be honest. Let's be real. Seth then cuts an angry promo. Nothing much. I think his catchphrases suck. Then Seth takes a cheap shot. He stomps Roman. He goes for a curb stomp. Roman hits a Superman punch. He goes for a powerbomb through the table, but then Seth counters with a pedigree. He then hits a curb stomp. No one went through the table, by the way. Seth just knocked it over, and he stands over Roman, who was laid out from the curb stomp, and that set up their match at SummerSlam in a few weeks, which overall was a good segment. I don't know how people feel the show, but I thought the segments tonight were good. I didn't like the opening with Brock and Oba, but I did like the main event segments. I really liked the Vision one. I liked the Judgment Day one attacking EO. I liked the Gauntlet match. Most of the stuff, Bayley and Lara stuff, I really didn't like that much. So there was some stuff I didn't like, but most of all, I thought the segments were effective. I thought they did a good job of building up Saturday night's main events, and I thought they did a good job of building up SummerSlam. So in terms of its objective of building to the big shows, I thought they did a good job tonight, and I actually enjoyed the episode. I don't know how others feel about it, but I thought they had enough good segments. Not all of them landed. There was a lot of talking segments in the ring, not backstage, which I prefer. I like more stuff in the ring than backstage, but there was a lot of stuff in the ring. I don't think there was a single interview backstage, by the way. That must have been a first. No Jackie or Kathy, unfortunately. But I thought what they did tonight was good. I thought it was well done. I thought the segments were good. And I thought they did a good job of building up to the next big shows. And I thought Raw and Dallas night was a good show.